Hey, so it's Monday morning, not Monday, Jesus. It's Sunday morning it's exactly 10 a.m. on July 20th, 2025. I have in the background, I got my scanner set up, listening to the highway patrol. Um, Over here, there's a image of my backyard because my dogs like to run around. So if I'm very boring, you can bore yourself additionally with the sound of highway patrols and watching my dogs if they go outside. What I want to get into is how can you call the Department of Transportation or ADOT's API and pull an image from the highway? This is more of giving you an idea of how you can be creative to do this and kind of how I found out about it. All right. So starting off, my website for a very long time has a section here where you can look at different freeways. And today I was looking at the 303 and adding the 303 and adding the extension of the I-10. And I noticed something weird, right? But before I get into that, let me show you how it's been set up for years. So if we click on the red mountain, you'll see that. So these are very high definition cameras. I see why they don't stream or allow us to stream. A true stream, let me show you what a true stream looks like. So let's go to the city of Seattle. And we'll pull up Seattle. And we'll go to their downtown. And I'll show you what true streaming looks like. Here we go. So this is what an actual live stream, when the cameras are live and they're streaming, this is what it looks like. This is downtown Seattle. Pull another camera. It should be in the envy of Phoenix because it's just so cool and it's so clean, and it's good quality. The streams are not jumpy at all. They're actually really good. You can see the cars just smoothly drive by. And the Seattle cameras should be the envy of Phoenix, right? And the other thing, too, is these are street cameras. They're not just highway cameras. They're street cameras. So, Seattle, kudos to you. Great job. Arizona is a little bit different. They don't stream the actual videos. They're still pictures. And if there is an accident or something, they shut them off. So you can't even watch them. But anyway, so what I've done for years is I've taken the JPEGs and I've refreshed the JPEG. I have JavaScript. If we look at the page source, these are JavaScript segments that look at the images that are pulled, and it refreshes the image in itself in about 2.5 seconds. So you don't get a true stream, but you do get kind of a time lapse. What do they call it? I can't remember, but stop motion. That's what it is. So you kind of get the stop motion feel to it. If I want to look closer at it, I can right click and get a better picture of what's going on. Oh, look, they got some debris in the roadway. They need to take care of that. So for years, this is how it's run, right? So let's look at the ADOT map, and I'll show you what changed. Because they changed it with the new cameras or the new system that they got. I know a couple of years ago, they revamped everything. So let's go to the official ADOT website. And we'll look at the 202. And they changed something. It used to be a lot easier, but it's not anymore. So if I click on one of these cams, what I used to do is I could click on the camera here. I right click and get the link. And this used to be a JPEG link. Meaning is real simple. I just pull the JPEG and refresh it. And then I noticed it doesn't refresh like it used to. Not with this particular link. And if you notice, there's no extension. There's no JPEG extension or anything on it. So I was like, that's weird. And we'll leave that one up. And then I did that with the 303. I was going to set up a thing with the 303. That's actually where I first noticed it, because I couldn't get a quick refresh on the 303. I'm getting to something here. So if we go to the 303, And I was expecting to get a JPEG so that I can just refresh the JPEG and give it that stop motion. But if I go to refresh, it doesn't refresh. It only refreshes like every, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. So if we try to refresh now, I don't get anything. 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. I'll try again. Nope. 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi. One more time. Still nothing. Still nothing. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. So it's actually more than 10 seconds. So if I go to my site and I open it up and I refresh, it's going to refresh every 2 seconds. So they definitely changed something. What I saw, there's 2 servers set up. There's one server that has the JPEG, the old style of doing it, I'm convinced that this is their old way, because all the new cameras don't have a JPEG equivalent. If they do, or you saw that, let me know, because it's a better method to do the refresh, but it doesn't. So I started messing around with the official website of ADOT to see where is it pulling the image from. And I had to put in Firefox, and I was messing around, and I see that there's GET requests. So what does that mean? That means it's pulling the images from an API. And if it's pulling it from the API, it's not as easy just refreshing the JPEG. You have to actually create an API script to pull from the API. It's nothing crazy, but it's not as efficient. And when I say efficient, they don't have the API providing it is quicker. If somebody on here that's listening has any control over that, if you could get the refresh rate quicker for the API, that'd be awesome. It's like 15 seconds. If we can get that down to like 2 seconds, that'd be awesome. So what does that mean? Well, that means I'm going to have to figure out a way to call the API, or I could still just bring up the image. But it's just not great, right? So that brings me to this. How can we code something to pull the image out of the ADOT site? So this is just kind of for fun, for knowledge and for fun. So how do you do that? How do you create an API request? So let's go here. So we'll go to blank. We'll create a folder with nothing in it. And let's go ahead and bring up Notepad. Notepad. And we'll just bring up a regular old Notepad. What I would suggest is downloading a script application that you can write your script in. I don't know if you can hear me well or not. All right, let me try something. Hello, this is me talking directly into the mic. This is me talking to the side of the mic. What is the differences between these two? And I guess I'll review that, and then whatever's better, I'll start talking like that. All right, so let's create a blank text file here. So I'm going to say save, and what we'll do is we'll go in here, we'll click the path, we'll put the path in here, and then we'll call it 202. That's, where do we want to grab? Let's see. We'll call it 202 Alma School. We'll actually call it 202 Red for Red Mountain, and then Alma. And we're going to use VBS script just because I'm an old guy and that's what we used back in the day, and it's pretty simple. I know people are going to be talking about using Python or Node or whatever, but we're just going to start off with this. So I'm going to now use my editing program, which is Notepad++, and opening it in Notepad++. So that gives me a blank thing there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a script that's going to call the API, the ADOT API. Well, it's probably hosted by something else. Actually, I know what it's hosted by. It's actually hosted by Amazon Web Services. But we're going to call the API, we're going to send a request, and then we're going to create a way that we get a response. Okay? So, what do we need to do first? We need to set the HTTP object. We're going to call the DOM, and the way you do that is in VBScript. For those who are familiar with it, we create a set. We declare a variable. You can make this up. It could be anything, but we're going to call it object HTTP, and then this create objects pulls from Windows, and it uses the Microsoft XML 12 request, right? So we start off with that, and this is not a lot of writing here, so it's pretty simple. Next, we're going to create a variable for the bit stream because it's a image, so we're going to have to decompile it or whatever to an image stream. So we're going to give it a variable of, you can call it bullshit stream. No, it's a bit stream. So we're going to set the bit stream. So we're declaring it, and then we're going to set it equals create object. So we're grabbing another object from the Windows ADODB stream. ADODB is, I forget. Is it Adobe? No. Why do I want to say Adobe? I don't think it is. I would be pulling it out of my butt to make that up. All right. So we have established the two objects that we're going to use. Next thing we want to do is now do a get request to the actual endpoint or the API URL, right? So we're going to use our object HTTP variable. Now I just wrote it. It's always good just to copy and paste it so you don't make a mistake. Variables are sensitive, case sensitive. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to open. Now we're going to open the URL we're going to send it to, and this is a get request. So we're going to say get in quotes because we're going to send that get request to the endpoint, and this is where we're going to put the URL. So because we're going to do the 202, create our quotes there. Let's go to the 202 and see what that link is. So here is the actual endpoint for the 202 for this section, and I'll show you how you do it for the also for the 303, and maybe we'll experiment, or because I just had a thought in my head, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to confuse anybody. All right, so this is the endpoint we're going to send it to, and then I believe this is like if we're going to do a bi-directional thing, but we're not going to, so we're just going to add false at the end. So here we now get, and what we're getting is we're getting the image from the endpoint there, and the way you do that now is we open the endpoint, and now we're going to send the request. So let's use the object. So remember, this is the XML HTTP object. Ignore that it says XML, it's just the HTTP object. So now we're going to send this request there. Now, of course, when you send something, you're going to get a response, but we're going to get that response with the bit stream that we've created. So we're going to say with, and I have to also mention that you could probably write a JavaScript using the same methods. Or definitely you could do it in what's the one that all the kids like to use? Python. I'm just doing it in VBScript because to me, for some reason, VBScript actually seems like the easiest way. Although it's probably not because you actually have to type everything out. But by typing everything out, it helps you understand exactly what you're doing. So type is going to be 1, so that means it's going to be binary, right? And then we're going to open, and then we're going to write the object. So whatever the response is, we're still using this HTTP object, and it's going to be the response body. Right, so we're gonna get the response body, And now, so this response body, when it writes the response body, that's the actual JPEG that it's getting from the endpoint. Now what we want to do is we want to write that to a file. So we're going to say save to file. As I'm looking at my notes. And we're going to, let's just call it test. We're going to change this, but I just want to show you how this works. Test JPEG, right? And then if we want to overwrite it, we can use number 2, and that means overwrite it. Now this is the end of the with statement, so we're just going to say end with. Oh, should write that correctly. And now we want to dump. So we want to now close this object because we don't want to keep it open because that'll mess up, or not mess up, but that'll use up the memory. So we're going to say set this object to nothing, and it's literally nothing. Now if I did this correctly, when we click on it, it should make the request and grab an image from the API and then place it in the same folder that we've created that script. Right, so if I double click this, hopefully it works. Let's go ahead and double click. Alright, there you go. So if I click on this image, this renders the image, the last one that was called from the API. Now if we'll give it I'll talk and give it like 15 seconds, and then we should get a new image. Let me make sure it opens up in this same screen. So if I double click on it, okay, so it opens up here. Okay, so we can see 10, 16, 27. Let me make a next request. We're going to double click on it. Let's see if that incremented. Yep, so you can see now it's a couple seconds ahead. So it made the request, got another image, and it's writing this over. And I'm going to show you how you can actually make it so it doesn't write it over. But the idea is if you have a website and you're showing these images, you will want to write over it. And again, I'm doing this in VB script. There's other languages you could do it. All right, let's make a, oops, sorry. Let's make another request and see if the API refreshes that. $17.07. Let's keep on making a request. So what we want to see is this date update there. Because apparently if there's no new image, it doesn't return anything till there is a new image. So this is probably still going to be 07. Oh no, okay, so it did increment. Yep, a couple seconds ahead. That's why I don't like the API. It's a little slower than the regular JPEGs. But anyway, so let's delete that. And how do I make the naming convention a little bit better? So what we can do then is say, let's add a timestamp on it. And you could create an automatic script that just writes all this stuff for you. So what I'm going to do is we're going to create a function called timestamp. So we'll create the function up here. We're going to now set a argument for the year, month, day, hour, and minute. So let me just pull this down. So we'll encapsulate that. So we're going to put the end function here down here. So what we're doing is we're creating a function called timestamp, so we can use it then in the file, creating a file, right? So you make an argument for the regular, year, month, and all that. Now we're going to give the seconds. No, we did seconds, sorry. So we got all the standard stuff. Now we're going to do a little logic. Now we're going to count it, and let me just pull all this. So we're going to create a new variable of x, and we're going to use x to pull. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the current time, and we're going to make sure that the current time is the exact time that we're going to set to this variable up here. And then the final thing is we're going to make sure we iterate through the times as they become, as the time, how do you say it? As the time increases or increments, we're going to grab that, and then we're going to make sure that it's part of the date stamp time variable function up here. So understanding all this really isn't important. The idea is that we're creating a timestamp. Because what we're going to do with the timestamp is we're going to grab this, and we're going to come down here, and we'll, where did we do it? Yeah, right here. So we're going to say, oh, why is this, do I click my insert by accident? Yeah. So we're going to just say, actually, let's put the timestamp at the end of it. And we're going to say and. So the ands thing, what do they call it? Not ampersand. Is that ampersand? I have no idea. So we're going to say alma school 202. And what we have to do is we have to make that a string literal, so that it literally sees that. And when you do this and you cut this off, what it's going to look at this as a string, and then it looks at this and sign, and it knows, okay, let's use the variable, the time and timestamp, and then we're gonna make the .jpeg a string literal, so that you have the string here, alma school 202, the date timestamp, and then JPEG. So it makes this one big long string of the name of the camera, the date and timestamp, and then the extension. And then this 2 is refreshing it. It doesn't really matter because we're going to have a timestamp, so there's not going to be a similar name. If it was the similar name in a file, it would just write over it. But we don't have to worry about that because we're going to create timestamps. This might be if you're doing some kind of record keeping, or say there's an incident and you want to get, different parts of the incident, and you can create the timestamp so you have a whole list of the images, right? So we'll save that, and I think that will work. So let's give it a try. All right, so let's click the VB script, make the call to the API, and here you go. Here's a timestamp on it. All right, cool. Now, if I wanted to, say, copy this and paste it and create one for the 303, let's look at the 303 cameras. 303 camera. All right, so this is the 303. Let's just separate this out. All right, we're at 303 camera. That one works. So we'll open that up into a new thing here. Now this camera, the endpoint, the only difference really is the 1175. So this is Greenway Road, 303 Greenway Road. So let's go back to our file. Let's call this 303 Greenway Road. All right, so that's our script to generate the JPEGs from that. And it is 1175, so let's remember that. So let's now open up that file. Now we're going to take this endpoint for the 202, we're going to make that 1175. And we're going to save it. We're going to call it 303 Greenway. 303 Greenway. And it'll leave the timestamp there. Now this should render us the 303 image. All right. So now if I click on that, it's calling to the API. Oh man, that takes a minute, doesn't it? So now if we look at the 303, here's the image from the 303. So that's the latest image from there. So we can even close our websites now. So if I want to get the next image from the 202, it should now generate a second one with a second timestamp. There you go. So let me change the how this is opening. I want to use Paint. Do we want to use Paint? I kind of miss the old Windows imaging. All right, so if we open this up, this is the older one that was at 1022. This is the newest one at 1025. If we look at the image from 303, this is a 1024 49. Let's run the 303 again. All right, so this is the next one. So you got 1025 49, and this one was what? 1024 49. So that's exactly a minute apart. So that's how you create a script to call the API to then return an image. Now, one of the things I'm not sure if we could do this. So, say we wanted to get multiple. Let me think about this. If we wanted to get multiples in one script, can we do this? So I'm gonna pull the script in from the 303 one we made, and I'm just gonna come down here and I'm gonna add that to the 202 one. We'll rename it, and we'll call this we'll just call it multi freeway pics. Just making that up. All right, so will this now allow me to get 2 JPEGs using one script file? So let's get rid of these images here. No idea this is gonna work. So say I want to get multiple freeway. Say I go to work every day and I take the 202 and I have different paths I'm going to take. So multiple parts of the freeway. I would grab those endpoints with that, like 1175, and here. Let me. I'll just, in case you're not following, let me just show you where I'm getting those endpoint numbers from. Endpoint, or I should just say URLs. So if we go to the official highway program, and let me just click on anything here. I'll just click on any camera. What the hell? I think they're all using the same. I wish they would fix their cameras, damn it. Alright, so here's this one. If I open this up. So this identifier here is 1132. What the hell? Let's add it. Let's go ahead and add it. 1132. So remember that. 1132. So let's open up our multiple. Let's add a third one. 1132. So let's grab this. Let's come down here. All right, so we create. So what you could do is you can separate it by like single quotes. So you got separate freeways on here. And what did we say? 1132? I think so. So that's going to be 1132. And what freeway was that? The 202. Oh, the 202 at the 101. All right, cool. So we'll call it the 202 at the 101. 202 and 101. And we'll take out the greenway there. All right, so I don't know if this is going to work, like I said. I'm just kind of messing around. I wasn't planning on messing around, but that's how we learn, right? So let's see if we can create 3 JPEGs in one script. Here we go. No, we got an error. Name redefined. Line 34. All right, so let's see what happened. line 34. Set bitstream object. Okay, so maybe we need to set the bit. Maybe we need to set the bitstream to nothing too. Let's just go ahead and do that. All right, I'm just gonna change one, and if that worked, then the error should be, the next error should be 52. If that worked, so you gotta, nope, name redefined 35. All right, that's fine. Well, what we just need to do then is we'll call it bitstream 2 and bitstream 2. So what we're doing is we're just renaming the variables. All right, so there's going to be 3 places I got to change it. All right, we're going to call this bitstream 3. All right, so we got three bit streams going on. Let's see if that worked. Uh-oh, is it working? Oh, there you go. Oh, is it going to give us more? There you go. And last one. Come on, one more. Come on. Oh, 202 and 101. Okay, that's the 3. So this is the 202 and the 101. All right. This is the 303. And this is the 202 at the Alma School. So there you go. That's how you create a script to call the API from ADOT to create your images. Using just as an example, you can get creative and use this for a lot of other things. But I figured this morning on a Sunday morning where I should be cleaning my house, but I figured, hey, let me mess around with this, and then I found out that it's using API now. It's not using regular JPEGs. I figured I'd share with everybody, show you how to do this kind of stuff. So there you go. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you didn't. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Tomorrow's Monday. For those who are not retired, like myself, I look forward to Mondays. I like working. Anyway, cheers.